Shalom, all praises and double is due to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach wa Malach Yahushai. We're back at it again on another mighty Sabbath. It's beautiful that the Most High brought us all here together. You can bring out Psalms 133 and 1. Psalm chapter 133, verse 1. Beautiful, beautiful to see mighty Aki and mighty men of the Lord gathered together on the Sabbath day.
The book of Psalms, chapter 133 and verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Right, and dwelling together in unity, we know Yahushai is amongst us. For where two or three gather in his name, hey, then he's with us. And today's Sabbath service is Armegeddon. All right, so we're going to go into the word Armegeddon.
A light in the way.
A sight or a time of final conclusive battle between the forces of good and evil. Right, the battle taking place at Armageddon. Better go. Matter of fact, yeah, you might use it.
Huh? Oh, you want to get it?
Yeah. Right, there's going to be a final battle, right? It's not going to be a wrestling battle. It's not a Royal Rumble, right? It's not a battle up there in the heavens where Satan is and Yahushua are fighting and the Lord get off his throne and he's fighting too. It's not that. It's not going to be that type of battle, right? You can pull up Armageddon again. I want to see what it's in etymology online.
Pull up Armageddon.
While you getting that, can you pull out Sirach, chapter 44, and verse, let's get that. You said what?
No, I said like you pull that. I'm gonna pull it up on the map too.
It was Sirach, the good set against evil.
30, 15.
Yeah, 30 and 15.
Yeah. Bring it out.
No, that's not
33. It's
33.
15.
Yeah, 33.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 33 and verse 15. So look upon all the works of the
You said
Lord.
verse 14.
Verse 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly.
All right, we want to establish who's the evil, who's the corrupt man of this earth, who's going to be fighting Yahushua in the end, in Armageddon. Who's going to be that man? Does anybody know? Esau. It's plain upon tables, or at least it should be. Right? Esau is that evil, wicked man, and his light has to be put out. All right, you can continue on.
Verse 15. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another.
Right, everywhere you look in life, there's always a positive and a negative, an opposing force, and that unstoppable wind. There's always two and two set against another. Even in the womb, when you read in Genesis, the 25th chapter, right, you can pull that out as well. Genesis 25. The two nations being in the womb. Is that 23?
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 23. And Yahweh said unto her, two nations are in thy womb.
What he said?
Two nations are in thy womb.
Go ahead.
And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people. And the elders shall serve the younger.
And the what?
And the elders shall serve the younger.
So even from the beginning, good has been set against evil. Right? Even when we go further in Genesis, good has been set against evil. The Lord already predestined it to happen. You can go to Genesis, it's like in Job, chapter 11, verse 20.
It's the book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 20. But the eyes of the wicked shall fail, and they shall not escape. And their hope shall be as the giving up of the ghost.
Right? They're not going to have any hope. It's going to be long gone for them. We're going to dive deep into it and go further into the prophecies, but understand this, that the wicked, their eyes shall fail. Right? Is there a hope? Is there inward thought? Can you get Psalms 49 and 11? Is there inward thought that this house, that Babylon, America will continue forever? Hey, but that's going to fail. Their trust in their riches, their wealth, their what's the other word? Their treaties is all going to fail. Even their security. Psalms 49 and 11.
This book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names.
Right, America, Germany, Africa, so on and so forth. Esau has a strong conviction, a strong belief that their society and their kingdom will be everlasting and rule forever. But that's not the case. There has to be an end. You can go to Sirach 24 and 32.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 24 and verse 32.
It's like, before you get there, you get Sirach. It's like a Job 18 and 16.
It's the book of Job, chapter 18 and verse 16. His root shall be dried up beneath, and above all his branch shall be cut off.
Go ahead.
His remembrance shall perish from the earth.
His remembrance shall perish from the earth. All right, Esau, they think, they believe, they hope that their kingdom will last forever, but it will not. The scripture just said, his remembrance shall perish from the earth, and he shall have no name in the street. There's going to be a time in the kingdom where nobody's going to speak the name of Esau. Nobody's going to say, well, remember America? We may, in regards to laughing, but not in regards to missing it and kind of thinking about it, wanting to go back. His name's going to be dumb. It's going to be nothing but dumb. You continue on.
And he shall have no name in the street. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world.
He's out of here. At the end, he's going to be crushed and smitten and trodden upon. Go ahead.
He shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. They that come after him shall be a stone at his gate, and they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not God.
Right. And of course, Esau, the so-called white man, his mind, his thoughts is far from the Heavenly Father. Even when you read in the Psalms, it says, well, who is God? Who is he? But I'm not going to be too long with it. You can get one more. You get two more. Get Job 21 and 17. Job 21 and 17.
Look at Job chapter 21, verse 17. How oft is the candle of the wicked put out, and how oft cometh their destruction upon them? The Most High distributeth sorrows in his anger. They are as the stubble before the wind, and as the chaff that the storm carrieth away.
Read that again, King.
They are as the stubble before the wind, and as chaff that the storm carrieth away.
That's right. And that represents Esau on the spiritual level. He's going to be withered away. He's wasted away. And then you can get Psalms 70. Yeah, get it real quick. That's all right. You can get Sirach 24 and 33.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 24, and verse 33. I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy, and will leave it unto all ages forever.
Right.
Behold, that I have labored not for myself only, but for all them that seek wisdom.
Right, so Lord willing, Israel may get edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, going into this mighty breakdown of Armageddon.
So I got, well, first I just want to say this. Armageddon, when you hear that in the world and Christianity and things like that, they don't understand Armageddon is an actual place on earth, right? It's not just some mystical word and it's a battle in heaven. It's an actual place on the planet, right? And we got Armageddon, in the etymology of it, and it's the cosmoclitic, right? Or that word there, right? Cataclysmic final battle, right? It's the figurative name of the place in Revelation 16:16, the site of the great and final conflict from the Hebrew word Mount of Megiddo, Right, that's a city in central Palestine. It's a site of important battles, right? Even when you look at the scripture here, in fact, we just go read it. Read Revelation 16 and start at 13. If we go actually go into that word Armageddon.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon.
Right, now what's significant about these frogs coming out the mouth of the dragon? Brothers know? Right, not what are the frogs, but what's significant? Why are there frogs coming out? Right? Let's get we go bring it out. Let's get 2nd Esdras chapters 15 and 10. Right, 2nd Esdras 15 and 10.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 10.
Right?
Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter.
Right?
I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt.
To dwell where?
In the land of Egypt.
In the land of Egypt. Now this is Ezra, right? This is Ezra, right, prophesying this, man. Now hold on, Ezra was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds centuries away from when we actually left Egypt. So what is that Egypt he's talking about? America. I get Revelation 11, verse 7.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 7.
Right?
And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
Right? That's talking about the Europeans overcoming the saints. Right? You read that in Daniel 7, right? Read.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city,
Right?
which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
Right, because you got simple Christians, they'll say this already happened, right? So, that's spiritual Egypt, and so that's Rome. Well, hold on, they're saying our Lord was crucified, meaning his image, man. Because if you Google right now, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and Google, what's going to pop up? Let's just look it up. Just look up Jesus Christ, right? And on Google, I'm going to get another tab. Right, just look up. This is what I mean by his image is crucified, right? Let's look up Jesus Christ and Google images. Right, Jesus Christ, right? Check it out, man. Right? You got this guy, right? What the hell? That's off, man. Look at this, right? Utter folly, man. Right? So, look at this. Look, that's off, man. So that's what I mean by our Lord is crucified. His image is crucified. They got him looking like a homosexual, like he's coming back. This guy doesn't look like he's coming to render his fury with flames of fire. That guy look like he's coming to give you a hug, man.
Kiss on the forehead.
Right? Kiss you on the forehead, give you a hug. Right? Pat you in the back, make sure you burp. Right? That's what he look like he's doing. He don't look like he coming with a sword to cut asunder men on the earth, man. Right? So that's what it means by he crucified the image in a place that's spiritually, meaning figuratively, Egypt. So that's why when we read Revelation 16, the frogs came out because the Lord is smiting Egypt with plagues. Right? Go back to that in 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. Read that next verse.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before.
As before. Right? That's why when you read all throughout Revelation, it's the same plagues. Right? The hail mingled with fire, talking about the nukes. These frogs coming out. Right? The plague of darkness. Right? All these same plagues are coming on Egypt again. Babylon the Great. Right? So that's why we call it Egypt 2.0. That's what's significant about these frogs, because it represents the plague that was in Egypt on a spiritual level. So we go smite it with plagues as before, right? Keep reading.
And will destroy the land thereof.
Right? He go destroy the land thereof. Right? Talking about America. This new Egypt. Right? So go back to Revelation 16, verse 13.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet.
And when you read about the plague of the frogs, it was everywhere, man. So these unclean spirits It's basically festering up wars, putting the spirit of war within these kings. That's what it's doing. It's coming out the mouth of the dragon. It's coming out the mouth of the beast and the false prophet. Right, keep reading.
Verse 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which goeth forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to battle of that great day and of God Almighty.
You see that great battle, talking about Armageddon, right? So the Lord is putting His spirit on these kings, like we go probably read in Joel 3, where He's gonna bring all the kings together. He's gonna put hooks in their jaws, bring them together to fight this battle, right? Keep reading.
Verse 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame.
Right, keep reading.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
Right, in the Hebrew tongue, Armageddon. So let's actually see, or willing this pops up. Right, Satan came immediately. Right, Satan coming quickly. Right, but nonetheless, Armageddon is going into Megiddo. This thing not one. Bear with me. Right, so I wanna pull this up, but acting crazy. All right, so let's pull this up. Right, Armageddon. All right, so that's G717. Armageddon is the hill or city of Megiddo. And Megiddo, right, I looked it up. Where is Megiddo? Megiddo is, modern Tel Megiddo. It's an important town in Palestine. That's not what here it is. It's in the northern Israel. Now, do brothers know what's significant about Armageddon being in northern Israel? Why is it in northern Israel? How does this link up with prophecy? Because we're going to be in northern Israel in the wilderness. Precisely. And let's prove that. Let's get Zechariah. What's that? Yeah, what's that? Zechariah 10, I believe, and like 11. Hold on. Zechariah 10 and start. Yeah, Zechariah 10 and start at 9. Right? Just to show that Israel's going to be in northern. Once we get gathered from all the countries, we're going to be in northern Israel. Because Armageddon is where the nations, because America going to be destroyed. But this is where the nations that's left over are going to come against Yahweh Shah. Because you got to look at it like this on a realistic perspective. It's going to look like an alien invasion. So here it is, we fighting. America gets destroyed and then aliens come, basically. So like, hold on, like we got to stop fighting and fight this. Right. That's what's going to happen. Literally. Right? There's movies and stuff like that. And that's just common sense. Right? They go see this new threat and they go try to fight against it, but then go into it. All right, bring that up.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 10, verse 9. And I will sow them among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries, and they shall live with their children and turn again.
Right, we living in those times right now. We sold amongst the countries, right? And now we're coming back to the Lord, right, read?
Verse 10. I will bring them again out of the land of Egypt, and gather them out of Assyria.
Right, the places of our captivity, the four corners, read?
And I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, and place shall not be found for them.
Basically, it's going to be so many of us, it ain't going to be nowhere to damn go. But nonetheless, He's going to bring us to Lebanon and Gilead. Those are all places in northern Israel. You said, yeah, you got one.
You get Micah 7:14.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 14. Feed thy flock with thy rod, the flock of thy heritage, which dwell solitary in the wood, in the midst of the Carmel.
And where?
In the midst of Carmel.
Right, Carmel, Bashan, Gilead. Go ahead.
Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old.
Right, as in the days of old. Because we was in Israel in the days of old, but now we're not, due to the curses. That's James 1:1. Right, we're scattered throughout the four corners, throughout the entire world. But we're going to be brought back together, right, as in the days of old. With that, you can go to Micah 2:12.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 12. I will surely assemble, O Jacob.
He shall what?
I will surely assemble, O Jacob,
He's going to assemble Jacob.
all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Israel. I will put them together as the sheep of Basra, as the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men.
Right, we're going to be gathered together. Once we get beamed up, Lord willing, we're part of that elect. We're going to get translated back down in these different parts of Israel. Bashan, Gilead, Mount Carmel. One more, Lord willing. You can get Isaiah 32 and 16. And then it's Isaiah 19.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 32 and verse 16. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in the fruitful field.
Right, judgment's going to dwell in the wilderness. We're going to have Yahushua with us. He's going to be before us face to face. And he's going to set judgment in the wilderness. However he does it is going to be judgment. Nonetheless, we're going to have to pass under that rod and be corrected. Some will rebel, others won't. You continue.
Verse 16. Then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness, and righteousness remain in... Verse 17. And the work of righteousness shall be peace, and the effect of righteousness quietness and assurance forever.
That's right. As in the days of old, what happened in the older wilderness? People rebelled, they got cut off. They were slain asunder, they fell into the earthquake. Hey, and same thing gonna happen again. You can get Isaiah 29 and 17.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 17. Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field?
Shall be what?
And Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field?
Can you Google Lebanon right now? I'm sure. How does Lebanon look right now? Last time I checked, it's not how it was. It used to be real fruitful, real yeah, it used to be real vegetation. A whole lot of vegetation. Look at that. That's not how Lebanon looked in the ancient world. People think the Middle East was all just desert wasteland, snakes and crickets, and moles and rats, and creepy things. It was fruitful.
It's literally desert.
It was like a damn jungle over there.
You can kind of see a little vegetation.
You see a little bit here and there, but it's all withered up. Now it's all withered up, and the Lord said, what did he say in Isaiah 29? You can read that again.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 17. Is it not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest?
So it's going to be like a forest as it once was. You can get one more in Isaiah 34 and 12.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 12. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. Verse 13. And thorns shall come up in her places, or palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons, and a court for owls.
Go ahead.
The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the land. And the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The sergal and the red shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest, and lay a hatch, and gather under her shadow. And there shall the vultures also be gathered.
It's not what I wanted, but that's okay, right? That's going to be America being a wasteland. It's America being a wasteland due to nuclear destruction and the Lord doing his work.
I think I know what you're going. Is it 33?
Isaiah 51 and verse 3.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 3. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places.
All her what?
All her waste places.
Because during this war, a lot of land is going to be wasted, like the brother said. America, Babylon the Great, parts of Europe, even parts of Israel, going to be waste. You know, so the Lord, he said that he's going to read it again.
Verse 3. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places.
So he's going to comfort Zion. He's going to comfort our people. He's going to comfort our waste places. Because Israel is going to be destroyed by nuclear destruction. It got to be wiped off. It got to be cleansed. Only way how you can cleanse a land or cleanse anything is by fire or by water. So the first time is about water, and this time is going to be about fire. Yeah, Isaiah 4:4 real quick, and then you can go back to that.
Quick point, look what they doing in Israel. They say that's the gay capital of the world.
They call it Pink City. Pink City. Wow. Tel Aviv.
Pink City. Look at it. Look at modern day.
That's it. Oh, this ain't ended yet. What is it?
The Pink City.
So,
That's why the Lord got to burn it. It has to be cleansed. It can't just be slain and then we get to move up in there. That's wicked. That's nasty. It literally has to be cleansed on a whole nother level.
Yeah, and only way how you can cleanse the land is by destroying it.
look at this.
By the blood in him that shed it, and by fire. Even when we went to war in the law, how you would cleanse the gold and stuff, you would have to all the idols, you had to destroy that gold in fire. You had to melt it first. So you got
Local tourism officials plan on turning Tel Aviv into the gay capital of the world.
It's back in 2005 too.
and that's in Israel.
Why
That's the holy city.
Gotta keep reading on this.
Israel Hotel Association official Tel Aviv and gay people are a perfect fit. Why are they a perfect fit? They just want to further desecrate our holy land and to make it abominable. They want to turn the good things into wicked, profane things. They're trying to turn the city inside out and flip it around and flip it up.
Get First Kings. You're gonna go back to Isaiah 4:4. Get First Kings 15 and 12.
So book of 1 Kings chapter 15 and verse 12. And he took away the Sodomites out of the land.
What did the king do?
And he took away all the Sodomites out of the land.
So you got to take away all them Sodomites out the land. And the Lord is going to do it by fire. Thermonuclear destruction. ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Right? So go back to Isaiah 4:4.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 4. When the Lord shall wash away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment.
It's blood in Jerusalem right now. Not only in our people, but also on our land. It's blood on that land. Right? How do you think that the Romans got to Israel? They killed our people. In 70 AD, during the siege of Jerusalem, they killed millions of our people. Right? So the Lord had to cleanse Jerusalem by what? By the spirit of what?
By the spirit of judgment. And by the spirit of burning.
And by the spirit of what?
And by the spirit of burning.
And by the spirit of burning. Because, fire is that natural cleansing agent. Right. And that's how the Lord, he planned to do it. Go back to Isaiah, 51 and 3.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 3.
And the brother got the precept I can read.
For Yahweh shall comfort Zion, and he will comfort all her waste places. He will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like a garden of the Lord.
So the Lord got to, he's going to wash away our land. He's going to cleanse it. At first, it has to be destroyed for it to look like how it once was, or even better than what it once was. It's going to look like that garden as before. People think that's just a fairy tale. The Garden of Eden is la la land. It's a dream. It's fairy tale. But it's actually going to look like how it's supposed to look, like in paradise. It's going to look beautiful. That's the kingdom of heaven. That's right, brother. Right, but before everything, all the joy comes, it has to be destruction. It has to be bad before it be good. So that's what I just want to bring up. The brother got it.
2 Peter 3 and 7. So touch on one point, and you could drop down to 12 and 13 for the last one.
It's the book of 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment, and perdition of ungodly men.
Right, so that's the touch on how you walking out, was bringing out how it's gonna be purged and cleansed by fire. The Lord gonna cleanse and purge the earth, you feel me, of all this wickedness by thermonuclear destruction, which is fire. Then we could drop down to verse 12.
Verse 12. Looking forward and hasting unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens shall be on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
You keep going to 13.
Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness.
That's touching on the point about how you walking out, brother, like how we gonna get our land and stuff back. It's gonna be new heavens, new earth. It's gonna be righteous rulership. The earth gonna be cleansed. It's gonna be purged. It's gonna be new, beautiful trees, the beautiful land of Israel that it used to be when we first got up in that thing. But it's all gonna start with the fire and cleansing and purging of everything first. Then it's gonna be beautiful and new again.
You got it.
Yeah, I got a quick precept. Isaiah 9 and 5.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
That's right. Blessing.
That's plain. Like every other, wars, grenades being thrown, bombs going off, fire, sword, shield, cannonballs, right? Now, hey, this is gonna be with burning and fuel of fire, nuclear destruction.
Precept 2, you get Zechariah 13 and 8.
Bring that up. Zechariah 13 and 8.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 13 and verse 8.
Right?
And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third part shall be left therein.
Right, so this talking about Israel. Men go be destroyed. 2/3 of the Israelites will be destroyed, but this remnant go get delivered, and they're going into northern Israel. That's what's significant about Megiddo being in northern Israel, because that's where Israel will dwell. And I just got one more on that. Get Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 18.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 18.
Right?
Therefore saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel,
Right.
Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria.
Right, so he's talking about punish the king of Babylon and his land, right, read?
Verse 19, and I will bring Israel again to his
The
habitation.
Lord's talking about bring Israel back to his habitation, what we bring it out, right? That 2/3, right? After he destroys the king of Babylon, right, read?
And he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan,
Right?
and his soul shall be satisfied upon Mount Ephraim and Gilead.
You see that? So every time we read, it's it's the same places. It's not just random stories. It connects, saying the same thing. Carmel, Bashan, Mount Gilead, Ephraim. These are all northern king. This is all northern Israel. That's where Israel's getting picked up and delivered to. And from there, Armageddon happens, right? Which we're going to get into, but keep reading on that.
Verse 20, in those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none.
Right, so the Lord basically is going to cleanse us. This is us passing under that rod, entering into that new covenant, where we're not going to sin anymore. Get that in Job chapter 5 and 21 real quick. Or actually get to the point, sorry, at 24.
It's the book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 24.
Right?
And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace.
Right, this is the end result of Armageddon. So we go get to the land, Armageddon happens, and then there's going to be peace, right? Keep reading.
And thou shalt visit thy habitation, and shall not sin.
And shall what?
And shall not
And
sin.
we're not going to sin anymore, right? We go pass under that rod, sin ain't going to be found anymore. Go back to that Jeremiah, finish that up, Jeremiah 50. What was that? 20, yeah.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 20. In those days and in that time, saith the Lord, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none, and the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, For I will pardon them whom I will reserve.
You see that? So the Lord said, I'm going to pardon their sins whom I reserve. Because you're going to have some people rebel and they're going to get cut off, and then the others go pass under the rod. And, that's the new covenant. That's why it says, the house of Israel and the house of Judah will come together. Notice it's talking about the northern and southern kingdom there, because it's after we get gathered and get brought back together. So I want to kind of go to Ezekiel 38, and we can start at 1. I'm going to jump down, but start at 1.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying,
Right, so it's like we just gathered up, kind of showing how, things going to happen. You're going to have World War III going on, America going to get destroyed. Armageddon, if you look at any war, it's multiple battles. Battle Armageddon, that's the final battle of World War III, if that makes sense. This is the conclusion. So it's going to be different battles. It's going to be battles in the Middle East, Europe, all hell going to be breaking loose. But after America's destroyed, the final battle is what we're reading about. So this is in the midst of World War III, if you can understand, right? So this is during Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose in America, economic collapse. It's the climax to the story, right? Bring it up.
Verse 2, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Right, now why is it saying Gog and Magog? Because that's going into the Russia. And we know Russia, if America's out the way, who's going to take over? It's going to be Russia.
That bear.
Right, like your brother said, that bear.
In Revelation.
Right, that's a revelation. That's why he got the feet of the bear, because that's going to be the last standing kingdom.
This is like in Russia, national animal is a bear.
Exactly.
See,
And I want to get you got a point?
yeah, see, Google it, modern Gog and Magog. They say, getting to the point, reinterpretation did not generally continue after classical times, but the needs of the modern world have produced a new body of apocalyptic literature in which Gog and Magog are identified as communist Russia. And then you see China.
Russia and China, check that out. Which, China at the end of the day, they are next in power to Russia.
Yeah.
Right? But that's kind of, that's mighty.
Yeah,
That's mighty right there. Right, I got a precept though. Get us 2nd Esdras real quick. We'll get 2nd Esdras chapter, where I want to start. Get 11 and start. You can start at 30. Yeah, start at 30. Kind of run through it real quick. Start at 30. 2nd Esdras 11 and 30. Going into this Gog and Magog being the last kingdom. Bring it up.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11 and verse 30. And then I saw that the 2 other heads were joined with it, and behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2.
It started this whole thing is kind of, but start at you can start at 24. Yeah, start at 24. Slide, bring it up.
It's the book of the 2nd Ezra, chapter 11, verse 24.
Right?
Then saw I also that the 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6.
Right, you got 8 contrary feathers. You got 12 feathers. Those feathers are the first 12 emperors of Rome. But the contrary, they do their own thing. They're not like separate. They're not kings. So these are 2 feathers, right? Out of the 8 contrary, right? Read.
And remained under the head that was upon the right side.
Right?
For the 4 continue in their place.
Right?
And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set up themselves and to have the rule.
Right? Those 2 feathers under the wing thought to set up themselves and rule. Right? That's going into Spain, France, and Britain. Right? Because they was the first people over here in the so-called New World. But what happened? Right? America came out of that, man. And it took out Britain. It took out France, and it took out Spain in many different wars, right? The American-French War, the Revolutionary War, the Spanish-Indian War, the War of 1812. These are all different wars. Just look at the history of America. They literally took out those 3 countries, right? You read that in Daniel 7 as well, where the horn came up out the 10 and knocked out 3 of them. This is the precept that Lammy's back to it, but bring it up.
Verse 26. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more.
Right, keep reading.
And the second was sooner away than the first.
Right, so those are going into basically the Holy Roman Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, and the Western Roman Empire. Right, keep reading.
And I beheld, and lo, the two that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they had so thought, behold, there was one of the head of there awakened one of the heads that were at rest, namely, and that was in the midst.
Right, so this is an eagle. Right, for brothers who don't know, this beast is an eagle. Right, and this eagle is the fourth beast in Daniel, which is the Roman Empire. Landing into America, got 3 big heads. One head is in the middle. This is America. That's going to destroy these 2 feathers thinking to reign. Right, that's France, Britain, and Spain. Right, bring it up.
For that was greater than the other 2 heads.
Right, it was greater than the other 2 heads. This is America, man. Right, but these other 2 heads you go figure out is actually the EU and Russia. Right, that's going to be the Gog and Magog. Right, but bring it up.
Verse 30. And then I saw that the other 2 heads were joined with it.
Right, the 2 other heads were joined with America. Right, read.
And behold, the head was turned with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned.
Right.
But this head put the whole earth in fear.
Right, I mean, this is Babylon. Right, clearly. Right, this one head put fear over the whole earth. Right, read.
And bear rule in it over all those that dwell upon the earth with much oppression.
With what?
With much oppression.
Right, so this head is on an eagle put over the earth.
Much oppression.
Right, and we understand that's clearly talking about America.
Right, but keep reading.
And it had the governance of the world more than all the wings that had been.
Right, more than all the wings. Because when you look into it, those wings were literally just different Roman kings. Nobody had governors over the earth like America. Right? I mean, they literally got places everywhere. Their currency, their religion, everything runs the globe. Right, right?
But there remained the 2 heads, which was also in like sort rule upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein.
Right, the other 2 heads had a little bit of reign too, man. Russia, the EU, right? They had reign over the earth as well, right, read?
And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side devoured it, and that was upon the left side.
Right, so now it's saying the right side is going to devour his head. And we understand that's talking about Gog and Magog. That's talking about Russia. They're going to devour America. Right, like I said, the kings of the east. Right, the EU, Russia, they're going to hate the whore. Right, let's get that. What's that, Revelation?
It was like
17.
the last one.
Right, let's get that. Right, Revelation 17, I believe the last verse. Right, Revelation 17. And
16.
yep, and we're gonna actually start at 15.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 17, and verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth.
Right, the whore was sitting on many waters. Right, meaning if you sitting on something, you got kind of governance over it. Right, which we just read. Right, so how is John the Revelator writing this, and then it's linking up with what Ezra wrote? And it's, I mean, so that's how you know this Bible is a real thing, man. This is real, actual history and prophecy right here. This is deep, right? Bring it up.
Are peoples, tongue, and multitudes, and nations and tongues.
Right?
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire.
You see that? So these horns, right, they're going to turn on America and burn it with fire. Right? The EU, Russia, that's what we're reading about right here in 2nd Esdras. And this ties all the way back to what we're reading with Armageddon. So this is just showing how the prophecies go happen. America go get destroyed by, its allies in Russia. And then we're going to get beamed to northern Israel, where it's going to be desolate because they're already going to be fighting war.
And so like the EU just mean European Union. You read about the treaties they had after World War I, World War II. You learned that in history class. Well, they taught me that in world history class. After World War I and World War II, these European countries came together to prevent a war, and they clicked up. They so-called what they was called clicked up. And came to treaties so they would try to prevent a war. But really, when you get into it, they kind of gangbang.
Yeah.
You know,
It's literally like,
you got it. I just want to bring up
bring that up, because I want to go back to
You can go back to
Ezekiel.
it.
But he got
Just to let me back on this prophecy, and that this is actually true. America, this is '07. That's still in the grand scheme of things. This is relevant. America and Europe go their separate ways. And there's a whole article on it. We did cold cuts like this in time past. There's even more recent articles on it. Even France, I forgot his name, Macron, he was telling Europe, hey, don't really mess with America. They ain't going too much at it with Russia. We don't really need to be with them. Like these nations, especially EU chiefly, right, in regards to this prophecy, they're sick of America.
Yeah,
Europe, you said what?
They already don't like how America run things. Like they even go against America and how their food is. Like, like Europe is they're like totally separate from how America run things. Like their food industry, like all the industries is different. You know, you got
really
Yeah.
Eastern Europe, because
Yeah.
that's what they call it, the West. A lot of the Europeans still, Britain kind of falling and stuff,
yeah,
because they follow the ways of America. But certain ones like the hell with that.
yeah. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah,
It says one more real quick. Europe
they
is
ain't really dealing with it.
This is more so recent, so like this is actually 2020, all right? And it says this year Munich Security Conference convented under the rubric Westlessness. The implication was clear. Not only are the United States and Europe staking out separate, clashing positions on everything from telecommunications to energy, but they have issued sharp disagreements on the basic building blocks of foreign relations.
Brother just said it.
So that's the nation's head in his horn, namely how the international system should work. French President Emmanuel Macron seized the spotlight and sent hearts to the European Federalists aflutter by calling for a European way, while raising the possibility of a French-led European nuclear deterrent and a precondition for any true independence from the United States. This is February 26, 2020.
Like a precept.
It's only 3 years ago.
See that?
How much more the conflict now?
Yeah, they fed up about this war too. And look at our so-called president.
Yeah, he's finished. He fell asleep. He went to Hawaii, fell asleep, went back to America, and sent more money to Ukraine. He's sick.
So he fell asleep.
He's sick. All the people in Hawaii, you know, they're Jaffa, it is what it is, but damn. You know, if you're the leader of this country, you would think that you would kind of help out your own state. But nah. He said, look, you know, they'll get like $700 each, that's it. And then sent $600 million more to Ukraine. But hey, that's America.
I had a quick precept, maybe back on the relations. Get Obadiah, get the 6th verse, start at the 6th verse.
It's the book of Obadiah, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hid things sought up?
Right, going into Esau, the devil, right? So-called white man, right?
Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
You see that? All the men of thy confederacy. What is a confederacy? Let's look up the, oh yeah, it's like you got to look up the word confederacy, right? Confederacy, a league or alliance, especially Confederate States. It's a league or association, coalition, right? The EU, right? It says, all thy men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, right? Read.
The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee.
Right. This is why the Lord said precept upon precept to get deep understanding. We just went to all these different books and it's telling one tale and it's linking up with real history, man. Literally. Right? You can't get around it, man. We just, Lord willing, this is connecting. It's like connecting Lego blocks, man. Right? Bring it up. Putting the pieces to the puzzle together. So these nations that were at peace with America are going to turn on America. That head is going to eat America. Right? Those that was, the 10 horns go hate the horse, all saying the same thing. Right? Bring it up.
They that eat thy bread have laid a wound unto thee. There is none understanding in him.
Right, they that eat thy bread. What currency do these nations use? They use the American dollar, man. That's when you used to be, now it's always fluctuating. It used to be the dominant dollar, man. The dominant dollar. Number one currency for trading is the US dollar. They're eating the bread of America. Even when the whore gets destroyed, nations gonna be upset about it as they see the smoke, man. They're gonna be like, damn, all these people is making all this money off America. Check the tax to different things you use. It say made in China, made in India, right? They always outsourcing and getting different things from everywhere, man. Shipping things out, getting things brought in from all these different countries. Right, that's Babylon the Great for you. Now you had something up that was saying about, what was that?
Which part?
It was something you had up, I saw, but something about the EU and American dominating. It's kind of gone now. But yeah, you had a point? I appreciate that. You can bring it up. 'Cause I still want to go to Ezekiel 38.
Okay, I guess you can finish that off.
Is it, I mean, well, yeah, I'll bring it
Let's
up.
not go into that anyway.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, so go back to Ezekiel. So this is just to show, why Gog and Magog are those remaining countries, right? And how it's going into Russia and the EU, right? Why is it Russia and the EU? Because they're going to destroy and turn against America. All right, but bring it out. But America still has other allies, so they still going to be fighting in World War III, right? Different European countries and stuff like that. But get Ezekiel 38. Verse 2, it's world war, so everybody not going to be against America. America still got allies, so they're going to be over there fighting. But once America's destroyed by these so-called aliens, they're going to be like, what the hell? So they're going to fight against it. And that's what we're finna read about here. So get that in Ezekiel 38.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, verse 2. Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws.
Right, hooks in your jaws, meaning I'm going to draw you. I'm going to control you. You got hooks in somebody's jaws. You can move them any way you want. Right, keep reading.
And I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
Right, so he's going to bring their armies to him. That's what the Lord is saying. Right, keep reading.
Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
Now, hold on. Yes, hold on now, just so we understand how accurate this Bible is. This thing ain't a joke, man. What is Persia? What is Ethiopia? What is Libya? Persia right now is in modern day Iraq. Look up Russia and Iraq relationship. Look up Iraq-Russia relations. Click that right there. So Persia, Iraq, right, go be joined with Magog. And this is real, right? It says relations between Russia, between Russians and the people of Iraq long predate the formation of modern Iraqi and Russian states. So they've been in cahoots. All right, so who's next? Ethiopia. Look up Russia and Ethiopian relations. Let's see how accurate, let's see if this Bible is fake, man. Right? Now this.
That's for the Iraqi, Russia, but Russia.
Yeah, let's look up Russia and Ethiopia relations. Let's see if this Bible is, let's see if it's fake or not, man. There should be one in Ethiopia as well.
That's their admission to BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So
See
that's
that?
the relationship growing.
See that?
Because
Scroll up, click on relations, type in relations.
Something like that.
See, they joined BRICS. All right, see that? It says Russia currently has embassies in Addis Ababa, and Ethiopia has an embassy in Moscow. Right, so they in cahoots. Who's next on the list? Libya.
Real quick, they also say the chairman of the state of Duma Thanked Ethiopia for supporting Russia at international organizations, including the UN.
That's in 2023, right? It says that most African countries supported the idea of maintaining active ties to the Russian Federation.
Right.
And that's including the next one, Libya. That's why I want you to look up, just replace Ethiopia with Libya, and they have relations as well. Right, when you look up, yeah. Type in Russia and Libya relation.
You said Libya
It's
or Lydia?
it's like it's Libya. See, all this is simple Wikipedia, right? It says Libya-Russia relation, or Libya-Russia relations are the bilateral relations between the state of Libya and Russian Federate. Russia has an embassy in Tripoli, Tripoli, with Libya having an embassy in Moscow. Diplomatic contract between Russia and Libya has generally been close and productive, seeing as both countries have had and continue to violate, what's that?
Volatile.
Yeah, volatile relations with the U.S. So they that your enemy of my enemy is my friend spirit. Volatile relations. Kind of tense, man, uncomfortable, uneasy relations. So they kind of coming together. So this Bible is extremely accurate, man.
See that?
It's not just naming 3 random countries and this is real, right? Persia, Ethiopia, Libya are gonna be with Gog and Magog in World War III, fighting against Yahushua. That's literally what's gonna happen, right? So keep reading in that.
Verse
Yes,
verse 8 or verse 6. Gomer and all of his bands, the house of
Well, actually, let's jump down to verse 8, just so we get the point.
Book of Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 8. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword.
Right, that is brought back from the sword, read.
And is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel.
Hold on, so they go fight against the mountains of Israel. Now, where is Israel gonna be at in this time?
Northern Israel.
Northern Israel. Megiddo. Armageddon. Where they fight against Yahushua. This is the battle right here.
Russia already know.
Right?
Russia already know who the people of God is.
This is what they gonna do. And guess what? What happened when we left Egypt? After the sea. Why did we split the sea? Who got closed in the sea? The Egyptians. Again, the same way we got out of Egypt is the same way we gonna get out of here. We gonna leave America. And the nation are gonna still come and attack us. Even though they just seen the power of the Lord. It's the same exact thing. They literally go attack us in the wilderness when we got the power of the Lord with us in the wilderness. They gonna do that same exact thing.
That's what I was gonna bring out too. You got it.
I'm going to keep reading this. Bring it out.
Verse
Yeah, we in 8. It said, against the mountains of Israel, which have been waste, but is brought back from out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely of them all. Right, so basically the nations are going to come against us, and that's what you read in 2nd Esdras 13, and they're going to get obliterated from off the face of the earth. That's literally Armageddon. Right, so all that we just read, going into the history and bringing out it's all to lead up to this exact point. This is Armageddon right here. Read this entire chapter. This is literally Armageddon, right? It breaks it down perfectly. The exact nations that's going to be involved, right? Now, I know you got some precepts.
I'm gonna rest with that.
You want to show this first, or you want to show the precept?
It was up to you. I was just-
Well, you can bring that out first, I guess. Well, you know, like I said, Russia already know who the people of God are, who the Israelites are. And it's certain videos you can pull up where it say, well, Putin, he don't like how America treats blacks. But you know, that's just somewhat of a coy, you know, to make it seem like he good. He ain't good either. But you know, let's get Exodus chapter 14, verse 22.
This book of Exodus chapter 14 and verse 22, and it reads, And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left.
Continue.
And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them.
And they what?
And they went in after them.
Like the brother said, this is what I was going to bring up before. You know, it's the same way how it was in Egypt, the plagues and all. Even them pursuing after us. Because how did the Lord save us in Egypt? He parted the Red Sea. But did you know that it was a chariot there as well? In the sky that was following after us? That's in the scriptures. Right? So that's all symbolic to what's going to happen today. Because you know, the Lord, there's no new thing under the sun. The Lord uses old things in the ancient times to relate to what's going to happen in the prophecies. Right? You got it.
Keep reading. Verse 20. You said
You're 23.
23.
You finished off on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I left verse 22, verse 23. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning, watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire.
Through what?
Through the pillar of fire and of the cloud that troubled the host of the Egyptians.
So that a chariot, what they would call a UFO now, is not a new thing. It's been there since the beginning. The scriptures call it a pillar of fire. It calls it a robe. You know, a flying object. That's what it's saying in the scriptures. You know. So that's not a new thing, right? So that's the same way how the Lord is going to come back. You read about that in Acts 7 on down. The Lord, he was taken up in the cloud. You know, that's a chariot. You know, so he said, I'm gonna come back the same way. So let's get 2nd Ezra 13 and verse 1. And then I'm gonna get your point.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I behold, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven.
Because above, you know, it's saying the scriptures is, in Psalms, it says it's waters above. So when it's saying in 2nd Ezra 13, a man is going to come out of the sea, basically it's going to be the Lord coming from the heavens. You know? So when they see this, they seeing a man, or not really a man, they're going to see chariots come out of the sky. So they're going to put it in our people's head and in the world head that it's an alien invasion. Why are they going to war with each other? Like the brother was bringing up. Right, you got it.
And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen unto him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
That's what it's saying in Revelation 1 and 7. Every eye shall see him. And those that pierce him shall also see him. Right? So everybody gonna be fearful when the Lord come back.
That's right.
Right, you got it. What they gonna do? Let's see what they gonna do.
Bring it out, brother.
Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire.
So everywhere he went, they just feel that fire that the Lord is sending out from the chariots. It said in Micah, I believe the 7th chapter, he's gonna make our horns iron.
Yep.
So, you know, you go into that horn, iron is going to a concentrated beam of light. That's what the chariots got. Concentration beams light. And it's not like Russia bomb strikes. It ain't nothing that you ever seen. Right? You got it.
Verse 5. After this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number from the four winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
To what?
To subdue the man that came out of the sea.
And that's, you see, on the Independence Day, the movie Independence Day, you know, they try to fight against the aliens. You know, they went off, they said they won. You ain't gonna win against the Lord. Right? You're not gonna win against the Creator, man. He created you. Right, you got it.
But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereof the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, All they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight.
So they're gonna be so afraid of this big old chariot that's covering the earth, the fathership, and then they gonna still want to fight. Let's try to fight against them. Let's at least try. And they're gonna all come together. Because in World War III, they're gonna be fighting against each other. But then when they see this man come, they're gonna try to come together to fight against him. Right? Right, you got it.
And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire.
And that's not literal out of his mouth. That's out of wherever he's going to send it from. Chariot, or an angel could do that. You read about that in Kings and Isaiah. An angel destroyed the whole army. They can do that too. Right, you got it.
And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest.
Let's get one last one. Revelation 17 and verse 14. I will let brothers have it.
I got one check for you.
It's the book of Revelation. Said 11.
17 verse 14.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 17, and verse 14. And these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is.
No, they gonna give the Lord a run for his money.
And the Lamb shall overcome them.
And the Lamb shall overcome them. Who's the Lamb? That's talking about Yahushua, the Son of God. Right? He's going to overcome them. Is more on that?
Yeah. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called chosen and faithful.
Right, so that's it. Might not have the precept.
I got one after you.
My precept was letting me back off when Walknow was bringing out how they both Walknow and Kabash was just saying the same way we got delivered then, and how the Most High judged the heathen then is gonna be the same way now. So I was gonna put Second Ezra 5:42. Yeah, the Lord like his judgment.
It's the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 5, verse 42. And he said unto me, I will liken my judgment unto a rain, like as there is no slackness of the last, even so there is no swiftness of the first.
Ain't nothing new under the sun, right? We're not gonna, it's gonna be a mighty sight to see and behold, of course. But we got delivered in a very similar fashion in ancient Egypt. Very similar, by way of the chariot and miracles. We're gonna get delivered by the way of the chariot and miracles. We get 2 Ezra 16 and 1.
It's the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 16, and verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
The Lord is giving a message to these nations. Hey, prepare yourself. Right? They really can't, but he's mocking them. Put on your dukes. Right? Pull up your pants. All right, we're about to go to war. Go ahead.
Verse 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back?
Right, the Lord has that glittering sword, like it's in Deuteronomy. Was that 32 and 39? He has that glittering sword. Can you bring that up, I'm sure? Yes, Deuteronomy 32 and 39. The Lord has an armory. He has weapons. He got the angels, he got the chariots. The brother just pulled it out in Micah, the 4th chapter. Right? He has that horn. When you go into the Blue Letter Dictionary, or the Blue Letter Bible, you also see rays of light, concentrated beams of fire. That's a laser.
Done.
The Lord got lasers that destroy cities.
Where do you think Star Wars came from? You have nothing but chariots in Star Wars that's shooting out beams of fire.
They call it Jedites or something like that.
Jedites.
Jedites. That's going into Judah.
Yeah. And when you watch Star Wars and you look at Darth Vader, the first Star Wars, he had Hebrew on his chest. He had a chest plate.
He did though.
He literally had Hebrew written on his chest. And he had that chest plate. But that chest plate is really supposed to be what the priest wore. Pull that up real quick.
Darth Vader.
So check this out. This is where Esau get all their movie ideas. Hollywood isn't just, creative. They got it from the scriptures. Let's see. All right, here we go. What is the Hebrew lettering on Darth Vader's chest? His deeds will not be forgiven until he merits. But nevertheless, the whole concept of Star Wars really came from the scriptures.
That's crazy. See that?
Why would he put Hebrew all letters? And guess what Darth Vader mean? I believe it's Dark Father. I could be wrong.
Damn devil.
Superman name, I think it's Kal or something like that. Kal. That's a Hebrew word.
Damn.
You know,
You look at him, he is
it
like
means God in Hebrew. You know.
Yeah, that's Ezekiel, right? I believe that's 28. Him trying to be that priest, trying to be the father. Darth is a blend of dark and death, and Vader is father in Dutch.
damn. Father of death.
See, Esau is the father of death. That's what he loves, death and bloodshed.
Yeah, that guy was off.
And yeah, so let's go back to 2 16.
Did you want to Deuteronomy 32?
Oh yeah, that's what I want to watch.
39 to 41. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever.
That's mean. He said, I live forever. Go ahead.
If I wet my glittering sword,
What?
if I wet my glittering sword,
Go ahead.
and my hand take hold of judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies.
To who?
I will render vengeance to my enemies.
Go ahead.
And will reward them that hate me.
All right, he got a reward for Esau. The Lord's come back with a gift. And that's a sharp sword. You can go to 2 Ezra 16:1 again.
It's the book of 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with claws of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand.
Right, go hug your kids. Go give, Tommy a little kiss on the forehead. Just go hug your kids, because, game's over. Go ahead.
Verse 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back?
We just brought it out. That sword is sent upon you. Who's going to turn it back? Go ahead.
A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of the strong archer?
Real quick, so the Lord is telling them what's waiting for them in Megiddo. He's telling them, hey, this is what's waiting for you, right? You got this sword, you got this fire, you got these angels, they're waiting for you. But they don't know it yet, right? And then those who do know, they're too prideful to believe that they're going to be destroyed. Because, anyone in their right mind, they're not going to fight against Solo. Your arms is too short. You can't do it. Good luck.
Right now.
All right.
God.
Let's go see something else.
Now we got Joel 3,
Oh yeah.
the Valley of Decision. That's Jehoshaphat. The Valley of Jehoshaphat.
Pull Joel, the 3rd chapter.
Brother got a precept too.
It's the book of Joel, chapter 3.
It's verse 7.
You got started with it.
Let's start at 9.
It's the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
And that's what we tell them today. Right? We tell them every Friday and Saturday as well. A destruction is coming towards your beloved city, Babylon. Right? Go call up the mighty man. Go call out your, the old man that was used to be in Vietnam, wherever. Call them up. Tell them get ready. right? They got to get back in the line of duty and try to defend America. Go ahead. They got to call up get that nasty black book. You know those movies, Esau call up them old ex-agents? They used to be a super skilled military man. And, you know, yeah, they're retired in a shack somewhere in the woods.
They got the purple hearts.
Yeah, they got the purple hearts.
With the ranking on their chest.
And they think they can kind of win. You know, call them back into duty. Gotta go back. And then fight the Lord and die. Go back.
What second Ezra?
Joel 3 and 11.
This is the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 11.
It's like in verse 10.
Verse 10. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
Right, you better get yourself together. Go ahead.
Assemble yourselves, and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's saying Joel 3, we just read, say, let the weak say I am strong. And that's even prophecy that we see today. A lot of these countries, they wouldn't fight against America 10, 20 years ago. But they doing it now because they call themselves, like North Korea. A lot of these countries were scared of America 20 years ago. They wouldn't even thought about fighting against America. Now you see how the Lord is making them strong in these last days. And America like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know what to do. You know?
Yeah, America had a good name after defeating that global superpower that was Britain. And they came on top. And they, you know, they had their little rulership from the 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, 90s. As soon as the 2000s hit, all hell kind of broke loose for them. The realities just slowly started to wither away. 2008, all hell broke loose. And America's never been the same since.
Oh wait, that's why Trump said make America great again.
Yeah.
It's not that same 40s, 30s America where Esau could hang a nigger and
Damn devils.
they could, you know, they could walk freely and they got their dog and they picket fence and all that folly, man. Right, it's over with now. America's finished, man. It's impoverished, the whole place breaking up. I'm like, yeah, their army was feared. I expect World War I, World War II. They came out doing their thing.
They had the weapons. Detroit was kind of on the rise. You know, America used to be nice in their eyes. But now it sucks. You got it. Let's go.
Vengeance of the enemies.
Judas chapter 16, verse 17.
It's the book of Judah, chapter 16, verse 17. Woe to the nations that rise up against my kindred. The Lord Almighty will take vengeance on them in the day of judgment, and putting fire and worms in their flesh, and they shall feel them and weep forever.
Right, in other words, that's a terrible threat. I'm gonna put worms in your body. Only the Lord can make a threat like that. I'm gonna put worms in your body.
Basically, I'm gonna push you down.
And he did that with Antiochus Epiphanes. Put worms in his body.
While he was living.
While he lived too.
So he was dying while he was living. He smelled like that too.
Oh, and yeah, he smelled like ass. When you read that ass, that happened again. I think it was Herod Agrippa. He had worms in his body.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, only the Lord can do that.
They say you stunk so bad they want to carry you.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Your own
Your own kinsman.
like, soldier, like you the king of the army, like you a general. Your own soldiers don't want to kill you.
Yeah, what you gonna do? Get mad at him? Smell like ass. Somebody had a precept? Yeah, you got it.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 10 on them Yahushua wasn't the sword.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 10.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10 and verse 10. If the iron be blunt, and he do not whet the edge, then must he put to more strength, but wisdom is profitable to direct.
Right, so it's going to be a simple, defeat from Yahushua. He ain't got to put more forces. It's going to be light work.
That's right. The Lord don't gotta sharpen his sword. He gotta wet it, put it on a stone. The Lord don't gotta do that. It's already sharp.
Wet it. Get ready. Go straight to battle. You'll be ready for battle already.
You finish on Joel?
Nah, we're just gonna go back to Joel. I went to verse 10 again.
So I got two lines.
Cause he's telling them to do everything you can to try to fight me. Right? He said turn your pruning hooks. It's like your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
Lord, getting them.
You better make that knife a sword and do what you can do. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened.
Real quick. Let me see some. What's that? It's different ranks. Tariq. You got different branches and like different high
Military ranks.
yeah, you got military ranks, but it's something else too. Like you got the FBI, different agencies, and Black Ops.
Oh yeah, you got the like the condo.
It's like the immortals with
Yeah.
Purge soldiers. You got the captain.
yeah, that's what it is. The armed forces, huh?
No, you had like different. It's like different top secret agents too, and entities. Like they more above the FBI. They more above this. Yeah, I forgot what they called.
Like the Secret
Talking about
Service.
CIA?
You meant
Talking about
to
The Secret Service. You said.
Them too, but they got like other names
like,
too.
like the GI soldiers.
Yeah, the GI soldiers. You got like high official people that
What
like
is that called?
I can't remember.
Platoons.
The SEALs are high up there too, though.
The SEALs are high up.
But it's higher ranking than them.
It'd be like separate men that they sent out to go like assassinate
Yeah,
somebody or some crazy.
those
like
type
that.
of people.
They got a whole separate, then a whole nother bubble. Like you said, like G.I. Joe, those was all men singled out to go fulfill that specific task against these prime ministers and stuff like that.
They over the generals. They over all those people.
Yeah,
They can't. The generals. They can't do what they do. They just can't.
I want to say the special ops.
Yes.
Yeah, some special ops teams.
Yeah.
Right? And they got different names. And Esau, they're gonna call them up. Special ops, we need you in medical. Right? We need the top ranking man, we need y'all specifically.
Yeah.
To try to fight your house shining angels. Probably. But you got it.
Verse 12. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
Go ahead.
Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The facts overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision.
A lot of people. Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is near.
And you gonna have Moabites there. They kind of confused. What's going on? Speaking their language. Or you gonna have the East Indians and their elephant gods. You gonna have Esau. You gonna have the nasty Hamites. What are you doing? There's gonna be a lot of nations, and the smell is gonna be crazy. Go ahead.
For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining.
Because at that moment, I mean, we're going close and closer to that perfect day, right? That's also represents them losing their wisdom, their knowledge, slowly but surely, right? But one nation is going to be turned into another. Go ahead.
Verse 16. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion.
Ooh. And because when you go to war, you yell out that war, kind of blow the trumpet. Imagine hearing the Lord war. You got the sword and the angels. Yeah, that's scary. Your house is not gonna be like, roar. It's gonna be a loud war. You gotta imagine that. You got it.
That's gonna be terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Israel.
He is going to be the hope of the children of Israel. That's what we hope for every day. Lord, please come back. Lord, smite these nations asunder. Go ahead.
Verse 17, so shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall be no strangers pass through her anymore.
Right, it's going to be holy once that blood is shed. We had a conversation with two Edomites yesterday. We told her that white privilege is a cancer. Who caused white privilege? She's like, well, I guess white people. I said, well, okay, so how do you deal with cancer? Do you treat it or kill it? She said, you gotta kill it. And then she said, she was quiet, and she said, are you saying kill all white people? I said, sound like you know the answer. She said, hold on, wait a minute, what about this? Look, Esau is a cancer, they gotta die, right?
That's right.
And once they're dead, once their blood is shed, then the land will be cleansed. Go ahead.
Verse 18, and it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop down a new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters. And the fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord.
And we went through that, right? We went through the precepts how it's going to be a flourishing land again. Go ahead.
And shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness.
Right. Edom will be a desolate wilderness. Babylon. Go ahead.
For the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land.
Well, hold up. I thought Christ died for everybody. Why does it say Edom will be a desolation? Why does it say this whole nation will be a desolation? If Christ died for everybody, why can't they be saved? Come on now. You got it.
You gotta ask the question of why is this happening in the first place? Why did the Lord come back to fight against the other nations for what did they do?
Right.
They had his people in slavery, that's why.
That's right. That is a good question. Like, why is the Lord coming back to destroy us? Why?
Psalm 33.
There you go.
People never kind of, it's a good question. Ask a Christian. Ask your pastor that. Ask the Lord.
You know, ask your pastor, your friendly neighborhood pastor. Ask them why is Christ coming back to destroy nations? What did they do?
Yeah, what they do? They just didn't do nothing at all. Get out of here.
See, they say Edom. They say, that's one man. Edom is one man. Edom's the nation. You got it.
They hate Esau for what he did.
Yeah, I hate hearing that. But what he did, though, he hate the sin, not the sinner. Go ahead.
Verse 20, but Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For the Lord dwelleth in Zion.
And where?
In Zion.
And where?
In Zion.
And Zion is where the Lord dwells.
Right. Got it. Yeah, I got it.
You wanna go first?
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Zechariah 14:2. Start winding down. Yeah, Zechariah 14:2.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, and verse 2.
Right?
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
What the Lord say?
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle.
Right, that's what we reading about. Armageddon, the nations, God, made God. Right? The Persians, right? Libyans, all these different nations go gather against Jerusalem to battle. Read.
And the city shall be taken, the houses rifled, and the woman ravished.
Right?
And half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Read.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle.
You see that? So the Lord gonna go forth and fight and destroy those nations utterly, man. Thus said the Lord, thus said the Bible. So at the end of the day, the nations gonna come against us once we get redeemed out of the Babylon, and those nations are gonna fight against Yahushua, gonna be utterly destroyed. I got one more here, Revelation 12. Right, the classic Revelation 12 and verse number 7.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse 7.
Right?
And there was war in heaven.
There was what?
And there was war in heaven.
Is this talking about, a red man with a pitchfork and a bunch of demons fighting against angels, and the angels got, arrows and swords and that's not what's happening. Right? Heaven literally is just the sky. Right? That's literally what it is. So it's gonna be a battle in heaven, right? Within the firmament. The Lord said the flocks of heaven, right? Because they're birds in so-called, or not so-called, but in heaven, right? Bring it up.
Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels.
You see that? So this is going to be Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon and his angels. And the dragon is the so-called white man. When you read this chapter, that dragon tried to devour Yahushua. Who is that? The Roman Empire. Herod, the great so-called. He tried to devour Yahushua. So this dragon represents the Roman Empire, the so-called white man. Right? Read.
And prevailed not,
Wait, hold on, what's gonna happen?
and prevail not.
Right, it's not War of the Worlds, right, where they kind of died of a disease at the end, or, Independence Day, and, it's always a remnant that kind of defeat the aliens, and it's not gonna happen. It's not a happy ending for Esau, right? Keep reading. And that's how you know that's just fiction, right? Because they always prevail in the end somehow, right? But where they even get that concept from? The world ending is an invasion, and they get it from the Bible. But they just switch the ending out. They missed the part where they get destroyed and get taken to slavery. They missed that part, right? But they come out on top, right? Bring it up,
Neither was their place found any more in heaven.
right? You see that? So they go destroy. The Most High is going to destroy their kingdom, right? And a new heaven going to be set up where Israel is in rulership. And what happens after this prophecy? After Armageddon, you go burn their weapons and take them to captivity. That's where you go into these different prophecies about owning the heathen and getting spiritual bodies. Because there's going to be a remnant left. You think the Rothschilds going to be fighting these presidents? Where they going to be at? Bonkers. And guess what? We got to kind of gather them up. We read that earlier in 2nd Esdras. You had 2 feathers that went and remained to the end. Those are the 2 feathers, the remnant of Israel. The remnant of the heathen, the Edomites. Let's go get taken in slavery. But yeah, you got it out.
And also, we're gonna have to bury the dead bodies all over. We're gonna send other nations to do it. I believe that's like Ezekiel somewhere.
That's Ezekiel 39.
You can get 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 20. Because you gotta pose the question of why the Lord fighting against these nations from the get? Why? Right? Let's bring it on.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 20. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me.
So the Lord is gonna call them. They're not coming to the valley of Jehoshaphat to have a party.
Right.
It ain't gonna be your Indian store owner. It's gonna be the whole military. Millions of soldiers, generals, captains, officials in the Middle East to fight.
Right.
The scriptures talk about the Euphrates drying up. But we already know that it's drying up right now. It's drying up so they can go in that valley. And how the Lord prophesied. It is dried up, right? You got it.
That's exactly why it's drying up, so they can go to Megiddo. They can go to
And that's prophecy, right? You got it.
Which are from the rising of the sun.
From the east, the kings of the east was that the Russians, the nation of India, Iran, right? You got it.
From the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them. Like as they will do yet this day unto my chosen.
Yet this day they do this to his chosen. Who is the chosen of the Lord? The Israelites. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. As they do this day and to his chosen, what they do to us, they put us in slavery. They put us in prison. They kill us. They say that we 3/5 of a human being. They don't give us no rights, right? You got it.
So will I also.
We don't even got a seat in the UN. So our people be so worried about what America doing. But our people, it's no African American seat where like you gonna sit in the world EU or the world place where they meet up and they have decisions and judgment on what they're gonna do. No, they do that for you. America does that for the so-called Negroes. So we don't have a seat in judgment in this world. Why is that? Because the Lord's going to come back and give us a seat, a throne. As it said in Psalms, He's gonna prepare a table in the midst of our enemies. Right? You got it.
So will I do also and recompense them in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord God, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth.
And all the way up into from 1619 to 2023 is nothing but innocent black, Hispanic, and Native American blood that's soaked in this land. All right, let's get Isaiah 10 and verse 17.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 17.
Start at verse 19.
Verse 19. And the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few, that a child may write them.
And these trees is going into the Lord said, I see men as trees.
Right.
So after all this war is going to go on, the war on Armegeddon, World War III, there's going to be so many nations few that it's going to be a child can write them. That's
symbolic, right? I mean, it ain't gonna be millions of people, millions of nations. It's gonna be less than what they got now. Right, you got it. Because the Lord gonna destroy a lot of these nations. You got it.
Verse 20, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob shall no more again stay upon them that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth.
So we're not gonna be in America depending on Esau no more. You gotta look at it like that. We're gonna be in the wilderness, man. We're gonna actually be with our brothers. We're gonna actually have our own country. The whole time we've been looking for our own language, our own country, our own place for us. Not the ghettos, man. The Lord got that prepared for us. Right? You got it.
Verse 21, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty God. But though my people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness.
So that's it on that. We're not going to be in these circumstances. A lot of our people dying. We're going to be righteous, man. Like the brother said, like we brought out that scripture. We ain't going to be able to sin no more after we pass over that rod of that covenant. We're going to be righteous, man. Right, you got it.
Verse...
Oh, yeah. I think that's it on that. Yeah. You got a point?
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 29. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever.
And that's why you don't see no other nation breaking the Bible down like how we breaking it down, man. They're gonna tell you that this is talking about this folk tale. This is fairy tale. It's allegory.
That's all they want to say.
Right? But we broke it down. And we telling you based off history and based off prophecy what's going to happen. And even now when we sin, BRICS is relatively new.
Yeah.
They just came together. And we read about that in Ezekiel. So the stuff that we're reading about is actually happened. They came together and made a currency. And that's destroying America.
Yeah.
Right? So you can close up.
Get Revelation. It's like Revelation 14 and 14.
It's the book of Revelation chapter 14 verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud sat one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap.
Again, this angel didn't whisper. He didn't say, thrust in thy sickle, please. He said, thrust in thy sickle and reap. Go ahead.
For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe.
Right, so that's when the Lord is going to return. Right, that's the sign. All right, that's actually going to happen. The angel's going to come out and say, hey, now is the time. And the Lord's going to draw forth the sickle, the sword, call the chariots, call the angels, and lay bloodshed upon these nations.
And come get us.
That's right. Can you bring out Sirach 35 and 3?
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 35 and verse 3. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to the Lord, and to forsake unrighteousness is a propitiation.
It's a very pleasing thing in the eyes of God to forsake your wickedness, to forsake the things that you once loved, that you know that's harmful for you, whether it be weed, the love of money, lust, fame, whatever the case may be, right? Anything that's harmful for you, and it's true, hey, lay those things apart, toss it aside. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord.
You should never appear empty before the Lord, because when he returns, as it says in Revelation 3rd chapter, the 2nd verse, and you're going to have a lot of things as wanting. So make sure you have, all that you can before the Lord. Show him your works. Lord, I did a lot of alms. Lord, I pray for the brothers day in and day out. Here are my works. Don't let your works be empty. And you come, with nothing in your hands before the Lord. You're going to get judged. What happened to Cain? He brought creepy things and dust and dirt for the sacrifice. That's vile. See how it turned out for him? So make sure you're doing everything you can for the Lord, and for the brothers, and for the sisters, and for the children.
Done.
That, we're going to bid Israel Shalom. Kwem Yisrael. Kwem Yisrael. Kwem Yisrael. This is what I was talking about.